Good morning and happy Sunday. I am Dr. Malea Jensen. Welcome to Dr. J's Prescription for Health. This is where you get a chance to ask questions, medical questions, and I get a chance to help you answer them. So good morning, everyone. Welcome. I see that there are quite a few starting to join in here. I am live on Instagram and I am live on YouTube. Good morning, Lara. Or is it Laura? I'm sorry, I cannot remember. So yeah, again, as a reminder, this is not medical advice. I am a family practice physician. I've been practicing for 27 years, but this is not medical advice. It is for information purposes only. And maybe a little bit of entertainment, but not medical advice. Might help you make some decisions in regard to your medical questions. Good morning, Carla. So, here's a good question. Dr. Jensen, you always speak of the chemicals that we are ingesting in our body and putting on our skin. What are your thoughts on fillers for your lips? Oh, that's a good question. How do I feel about fillers in my lips? So, okay. It would be personal. I mean, are you asking me if I would put a filler in my lip? And the answer is no. Or any type of something like that. I'm just not into it. Now, I am interested in skincare. I do love to read and study up on skincare. I'm not going to lie. What I would like to say is, skincare goes deep. There are all kinds of dermatologists or skincare people in general, okay? And they're into different things. And you can like it or not like it, but vanity is something that the human ego can't get past, okay? And it's not like I am disregarding it, because I think it's important. If somebody does not feel joyful by the size of their lips, then perhaps that person, by finding joy in having their lips done, might help them get through certain stressful situations that have been bogging them down. Now, a true, how do I say this? A true, not a plastic, well, plastics, docs too, but people who look at your looks and try to improve your looks, if that's what you want, okay? So asymmetry of lips is something that especially women worry about. As we age, okay, the distance between the tip of our nose down to the philtrum, so down to the red on your lips, the vermilion border, that line gets longer and longer and longer, okay? So as this skin comes down, your lips actually turn in. So it doesn't so much happen with this, is because everything as we age is falling. So if all of this is falling, this also is falling. So these lips, that's why we get drooping of the corners of our mouth, or get lines, our laugh lines, so to speak. So if this is going down, and even young people, the way they were made, okay, their upper lip is not going to be as full as their lower lip. And that asymmetry bothers people. As we age and this and everything falls, we are going to get an invagination. And so your lip, especially your upper lip, is going to just look like a tiny little line. All right? And some people say, oh, you should get filler, you should do this. Well, again, or some people will get like a total vertical lift, like with Dr. He's in La Jolla, I believe. Dr. Karam, he does anterior vertical lips. He just does the whole 9 yards. He lifts the whole thing, because he says if we just fix this or just fix this and do this or whatever, that one is gonna sag and the other's not gonna. So he does a whole vertical lift. That also gets your upper lip. But then there's other specialists who will, just work on the upper lip to help with symmetry, or help the asymmetry with more symmetry. That could be, you know, like hyaluronic acid. It could be Botox. It could be, I don't know. I don't know these things. Actually, one of my very closest friends, she is actually a specialist in this, and her work is amazing if that's what the people want. Okay, and she's not a specialist as in doing facelifts or anything like that. She works a lot with injections in the face or elsewhere. I mean, we can use Botox for a lot of different things, like muscle spasms. We can use it for, you know, increased sweat production. Again, I have my own beliefs on these things. But that's a good question. I mean, you know, I think it's a personal thing, and you have to decide, you know, if your lips are asymmetric, you don't like the looks of them, you want to do something. I think doing your homework. What are you going to put in there? What are the ramifications, if any, before you go do something? It's just like anything else. I believe wholeheartedly that if we exercise, we are exercising our entire life, we're exercising, we will maintain structure in our face. Our muscles will maintain structure. Our bones will maintain structure. So a person who exercises and a person who is on a animal-based diet with good amounts of protein and high amounts of fat will keep the structure in their face. Their elastin and their collagen will be healthier. And so the droopiness in these people is a lot less over time. So that's why some people look amazingly young. It could be what they're eating. I believe that just simply removing polyunsaturated fats, removing highly processed foods helps our skin. Whether you are a vegan or you're a carnivore, your skin, structure of your bones will be better initially. Now, long term, we'll just have to see. If you're a vegan, we're just gonna have to ride it out. I mean, because everybody responds differently. If you're a carnivore, we're gonna have to ride it out. We're gonna have to see, hey, did that carnivore diet really help with I don't know. Ride it out. Do what you think is best for you. But bone structure is very important. Our bones need protein in order to stay well. So if you're a carnivore, get protein. You know that. You're only eating protein for the most part. A vegan needs to make sure that the complement, just simply taking in protein, counting protein, like I'm just going to get it in my protein powder and I'm going to get it in just the edamame or sort, whatever it is. No, you have to have a complete protein. You can't just simply take denatured proteins. Even a carnivore says, I'm just going to take some protein powder right now. No, those are denatured. They're not from the source. So I don't think anybody should take any protein powders, no matter if they're plant-based or animal-based. My belief. They're denatured. They're not whole proteins. Eat the food. Eat the food. Okay? So hopefully that answers your questions in regards to the lips. And again, it's a personal choice. Okay? They're going to hear all kinds of stuff as this is safe or this is not safe. People are going to have their own opinions. Just do a deep dive. Lucy says, what if you already don't eat any of the bad stuff and eat carnivore, but skin is starting to look aged? Could be not enough water, too much sun? I think we need to take into consideration, no, I don't think it's the sun. The sun, we need the sun. Okay. Do I think that people who are out in the sun on 24 hours a day, I mean, that's impossible. Let's just say 12 hours a day, that they're going to perhaps be overexposed to sunlight? Yes, it's possible. Is it enough water? Maybe it's the wrong water. I don't think that we should overhydrate enough that we are causing electrolyte disturbances. I think we should drink when we're thirsty. We should eat when we're thirsty. I think we should salt to taste. I believe these things. Now, what could be increasing your aging skin, even though you're on a great diet? And let's just say you're not a smoker, you're not a drinker, and you're not around smoking or drinking, but maybe you're in a polluted area. The pollution in the air can cause, oxidation in your skin, in the membranes, decrease elastin, decrease collagen. So simple pollution. Pollution oxidizes everything, right? It is all kinds of toxins that get into our body. We breathe them in, we're exposed to them on our skin, all that, okay? Anything that increases our stress. What about exercise? What if we over-exercise? That can take a toll on our skin. I think hormone replacement can take a toll on our skin. I believe it ages our skin more than others. Having glucose in your diet. Obviously, if you're carnivore, you're not getting a lot of glucose. High insulin. Again, that rides along with high sugar. These are the things that are aging you. Another one that I don't know that we think a lot of is the clothes we wear or the things that are in our environment. And one of the things that I've kind of done a deep dive on this, and obviously this is a difficult one, and that is polyester. Polyester is very damaging, very damaging. And so it is very hard because we're in that environment all the time. More importantly, we're actually breathing in polyester or bromide or all these other chemicals, okay? But polyester is a big one because it's in all of our fancy clothing, right? And we're wearing them to work out in. And they're in areas that we're being exposed to, okay? So wherever the polyester is touching you, it's a bad thing. We don't tolerate polyester, and that's why we've been told in the past, and we blew it off, is we should wear or be exposed to all cotton. But the minute we are exposed to polyester, it could be even on our furniture. So you lay on it, that's polyester. It's getting on you. It's in the air. The fact that we're actually breathing it in because it fumes into the air. So these things could be aging your skin. No sleep can age your skin. Stressful situations like friendships or your work or your husband or wife, these things can cause worsening of our skin and texture. I mean, I think hereditary plays a little bit of a role, but here's me thinking, I think it's epigenetics. We either turn the switch on or we turn the switch off. But even something that's carnivore, you could be reacting to. What if you're eating aged meats and you're causing histamine? That's causing inflammation. There's all kinds of things that could cause Lucy's aging skin despite being on carnivore. The skincare creams that you're using, maybe they're not perfectly matched for you. Maybe you're putting toxins on. If you're putting vitamin C on, if it's purely ascorbic acid, I don't think that's good for us. It might have been in the past, that was our only choice, but now we have something called THD, tetrahexyl deca ascorbic acid. That would be the best, that would be the best type of vitamin C for us. But there's people that'll put B3 on their face. They'll put niacinamides. They'll put B1. They're putting things on our face. We're putting stuff on our face that could be reactive. Marnie says, yes, I agree. What we use on our face, whenever I use anything with retinol, I get dry. I just don't anymore. Well, retinols come in all shapes and sizes and strengths. And, if you're saying, I think, Marnie, what would be, and I'm just trying to teach you something here so you're using correct terms. Maybe when you speak to this, you say, whenever I use a retinoid, okay? Whenever I use a retinoid, that could be a retinol, it could be a retinaldehyde, it could be tretinoin. So a retinoid starts from the very lowest concentration, like a retinol ester, and then you advance up in strength. So the ester could be like a 0.025, then a 0.05, then a 0.1. Then you could advance up to a retinol, and then the retinols have strengths. And then you could go to a retinaldehyde, and then they have strengths. And then it's because every conversion gets to the top of the line, which is tretinoin. So you're saying I'm putting a retinol. So you might actually be putting a retinaldehyde on your skin. No, you might not tolerate, because vitamin A causes an inflammation. It does have to build up on your skin and over time. And so it's not really the strength, it's the time allotted that you have allowed vitamin A to be on your skin over years. And so some people who have been told to be on, take a retinol for your acne or your anti-aging, and you choose a high strength one not knowing. So education is big, and you're also putting castor oil on your skin for the dry patches. It's not going to absorb. The oils are harder to absorb. They can seal things in, just like hyaluronic acid can seal things in. So you want things that actually will moisturize, and then you want to seal them in. Okay? Those are good questions. I appreciate it. I am not a dermatologist by any means. I know enough to help you make good decisions. But, okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Any questions here? You guys feel free to drop in with your questions. This is good stuff. Oh, here's a good one. It's on depression. This Lara says, did you mention what you personally use on your face? Well, Larry, let's start with diet. Obviously, you probably know this. I am mainly a carnivore consumer. I do drink coffee, so I guess it's going to depend on who the definition of carnivore is. But I maintain a carnivore diet. I eat mainly just beef. I eat deer. I rarely eat fish, but mainly ruminant meats. How about that? Butter, eggs, salt. I exercise. I am in the sun on a daily basis. Do I use skincare creams? Yes. I am a user of things that have been told to me in the past may not be great for my overall health. Lara says, I've been using just water. I basically just wash my face with water. Once a day, I might use a creamy type of cleanser, maybe a cream to foam. I use like maybe Vana Cream or CeraVe or La Roche-Posay. Those are brands that I like to stick to. And what about the creams? With the creams, I would say that I will stick to a certain, say, brand like CeraVe, La Roche-Posay, or even Dr. Idris, Idriss. I love her. I think it's the fade, the mask fade. It's just a cream. It comes in a pump. It does use tetrahexyl decyl ascorbate. So it does use a vitamin C that I'm more in line with. And no sugar, Storla, no much glycogen, making your face look sharper. Cisco, help me. I don't understand your question. So Dr. Idris makes a great line. She makes an exfoliant. She makes a lip, like a lip based. Lip-based. So she believes in taking care of your lips. I agree. I don't have particular. We'll use Mary Kay enriched moisturizers sometimes. Aveeno for legs. Thanks for sharing your own experience. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, it was a statement with a typo. Can you repeat it? Because I didn't even really understand your statement. Okay. Okay, so the question came on like depression and diet and overeating. And when we have stress in our life, whether it be something at work, something with your spouse, exercise, our diet, high insulin, high blood sugars, we're going to be in fear. That's another stressor. When we have any type of a stress, a normal reaction is for our hypothalamus in our brain to produce corticotropin releasing hormone. And then corticotropin releasing hormone will tell the anterior, so that's in the hypothalamus. And then say right next door is the pituitary. The anterior pituitary will then respond by releasing ACTH, adrenocorticotropin hormone. And then adrenocorticotropin hormone will tell the adrenal glands to release cortisol. Okay? That is our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It is normal to have cortisol production. If we have an acute stressor, we want this HPA to work perfect because that's our fight or flight. And when you want it to go up, so say you get fear, it goes up, but we want it to come back down. Things that bring cortisol down are endorphins. After an acute response, you say, whew, you take a deep breath in, you might laugh and say, oh, geez, that was something, or whatever it is, your endorphins rise, and then that lowers your cortisol. But what if you have chronic stress? So chronic whatever, chronic exercise, chronic sugar, chronic insulin, chronic fear, all of these things, and it's chronically elevated. Now you get into a situation where chronic cortisol is being released and you don't have enough endorphins inside endogenously. So guess what some people will go do? They'll go for an exogenous endorphin. That could be exercise, so people can over-exercise. It could be food. You could pick a food as an endorphin. Like say it's chocolate or spices, something like that are going to raise endorphins. It could be sunlight. It could be sex. All of these things are going to raise endorphins to try to lower cortisol. But if you could see where if you are chronically stressed, you are chronically going to be searching for an exogenous endorphin to bring you down, to lower the cortisol. Sleep will do it. Some people will just go to sleep, and that's why that helps their brain lower cortisol, or helps their adrenals lower cortisol by back triggering to try to decrease the amount of stimulus from corticotropin releasing hormone, from ACTH. Chronic stress or elevated cortisol also lowers our neurotransmitters like serotonin or dopamine. And what happens here, doctors will go and just give you a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, like Prozac, and try to boost your serotonin or give you serotonin, or they'll give you a dopamine agonist like bupropion. They're going to give you medications, but you're trying to insert these medications in a normal biologic and physiologic process, hoping that it's going to feed back and stop the stress. It does not. The stress is still there. So the stress is still activating corticotropin releasing hormone, which activates ACTH, adrenal corticotropin hormone. And then the adrenal glands to release cortisol. So you're like giving something like a neurotransmitter because you're low without fixing the real thing that's causing a problem. Lucy asks, is there a time where you can check neurotransmitters? It's very expensive. It's very hard, but we can go by symptoms. Most people I'm not saying most, let's just say there are populations of people out there who naturally have low transmitters because of cortisol. There's stress there. And so you got to work on what is increasing the stress and how do I naturally increase endogenous inside endorphins or use an exogenous endorphin that is less damaging. Okay. Kathy asks, is it possible for someone to go off thyroid meds who's been on them for years? It depends on the functioning of the thyroid gland, okay? You know, that's a difficult question. The only way is to get your body healed, Kathy. So, you know, if like yesterday, I believe we were talking about iron overload. So if your iron overload is fixed, if your insulin resistance is fixed, if your sleep is fixed, if all these things is fixed, your thyroid is in conjunction. It's an organ system. It's an endocrine gland. So if we're fixing our metabolics, is it possible we could fix our thyroid? It's possible. The only way you're going to know is get well everywhere else and then see if you can't lower that dose. Okay? You'll have to avoid things that cause trouble with the thyroid, like, say, cruciferous vegetables. They're goitrogens. They're going to cause problems. You'll never get off your thyroid medicines. Lara says she has seen people go off of thyroid meds or greatly reduce dosage, but slowly. Stopping can be deadly. Okay, right. So you're saying you never linked the neurotransmitters with cortisol and stress. Yes, that is a big reason why people overeat. So when it just amazes me because there's a lot of overeaters out there and their doctors will continuously pump them full of dopamine agonists because dopamine is like raising endorphins. But if you give somebody too much dopamine, like bupropion, for instance, you're going to actually increase their anxiety because of the negative feedback loop. More cortisol. Things are going to get worse. So artificially altering one system, like boosting dopamine, could overstimulate reward pathways in another system. All these systems work in conjunction. God made us perfect and he made us in perfect working order. And when we go in and we try to, oh, here's a medicine for this and expect that it's just going to work right there, it does not. It has effects in not only its pathway, but in other pathways. Lucy, I think I ordered this. Are there tests for neurotransmitters? I don't know what they are. You know, you can get an epinephrine, a norepinephrine, a serotonin level. I don't know. So I did answer your question up above. I just don't know the answer. Okay? So helping with chronic stress. So the very first part of the pathway is dealing with our stress. And that can look like getting good sleep. That can look like getting out in the sun. It could be humming and laughing and socially being interactive. That actually, being playful with people helps increase endorphins. Okay? Being out in nature, going for a walk, doing daily exercise. I'm not telling you to stay away from, getting exercise. I think there's people who over exercise because it does continue to feed. That's why people long distance run. It's an endorphin run. Why would they call it a runner's high? So they get this runner's high and then they go back and do it. Even though, you see, endorphins, endo means endogenous, okay? Endorphins is actually a pain reliever. It's like opiate. So you're getting endorphins that are actually pain blockers. So you go run, you're getting your endorphins, it's lowering your pain response until you get done, and then you got aches and pains and this and that. You go run again, endorphins go high, lowers your pain, and over and over and over with the endorphins. And that's the runner's high. People do it with food as well. That's why we get overeaters. So doing it naturally, like social connection, sunlight, massage, acupuncture. Somebody asked me about acupuncture yesterday. I think if that helps, exercise in, quantities that are not over exercising. Laughing, playfulness, deep breathing, doing vagal tone exercises. These things help. Brain scans for neurotransmitters cost $5,000. Oh, wow. Okay. That I did not know. I would think I would just work on my stress. So vagal tone exercises or parasympathetic tone exercises. So increasing parasympathetic tone, lowering sympathetic tone. So increasing GABA, lowering glutamate. Those are that's kind of the gist of it. But I think that we need to understand that a person who may be an overeater, it's not as much willpower as they want the endorphins. And I could give that person more and more serotonin, more and more dopamine, and it won't satisfy them. It's going to become a negative feedback loop, and it's actually going to worsen their problem. So getting these people, weaning them off of their medicines and working on natural ways to increase parasympathetic tone, decrease sympathetic tone, increase endorphins, our natural production, not giving it to us. And if we need an exogenous endorphin, make sure it's a healthy one. Okay? Reduce how much stress at a time we engage in is also a good way. Exactly. So we need stress, okay? That I'm not telling you we need to remove all of it, or else we would probably die because we would have no ability to protect ourselves. But what Eve is saying is that we don't want to constantly 8 hours a day be under stress. So say you're in a work environment, or say you're exercising for 8 hours a day. These are not things. So you want the stress to be there. So whatever stress it is, say exercise. I like to use this one because I think some of you have gotten the impression that whenever I speak to mTOR, it's bad. It is not. We need mTOR in order to grow. So if we're wanting to grow muscles, right? We got to stress the muscles with resistance training. That stress will raise mTOR. mTOR will cause growth. Okay? Then we want to remove the stress. We want a stress-free time period. We don't want to continuously exercise or run a marathon every single day because now we're constantly under stress, constantly raising cortisol, constantly raising blood sugar, constantly raising mTOR, and now we're getting growth in places we may not want growth, like cancer, or decreasing our immune system, or all these things. So I don't want you to get to the wrong impression that mTOR is bad for us. No, it's not. There's a time such as this that we need mTOR. And then there's a time when we don't need mTOR and we need cleanup, autophagy. We need a maid service. So what Eve was saying is, yeah, you slam it with some stress and then you remove the stress. But constant stress and then times a day is huge. Do we want to be stressing ourselves at night when it's dark, at dusk, when it's going to get dark? No, because cortisol is naturally coming down during these time periods. It rises in the morning about 4 a.m. to wake you up. And then it continues to rise about till 9 a.m. And then it kind of levels off. And then around 6 p.m., 6, when it's starting to get dark, it starts to go down. Do you want to go exercise at night when your cortisol is already starting to trigger down? I wouldn't, but maybe that's the only time you can go. So you have to make amends, okay? So, working out, what about going out into a stressful environment in the traffic? Not a good thing. Raises cortisol. When it's supposed to be going down, it's going up. Getting in an argument when you get home from work, not a good thing. So all of these things can lead to why we end up choosing an exogenous, outside exogenous endorphin to try to bring us back down. Endorphins want to release or relieve the pain that we're experiencing. Okay. You guys you're chatting back and forth to each other. If you have a question, just put a Q in front of it, and then I can help with that. Something, okay, regards to your father-in-law. Okay. Okay. All right. Eve, yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for bringing that up. Those are good things. I do like to talk about exercise a lot because I think it's important that we all do that. Or, the organ of longevity, I believe, is muscle, and we need to take care of it. Yeah, Lucy says, eat meat. That's the simple answer. Ruth says, what are your thoughts on creatine? I think creatine I believe that people who do not get good animal products in their diet may need creatine. If a person is vegetarian or vegan, and most creatine we obtain from animal products, it's going to be difficult to get it when we're on a vegan diet. So in that case, yes, if you, Ruth, are consuming good amounts of meat, I don't think that you need to be taking or spending money on creatine. But again, that is up to you. The creatine is only made up of a few type of amino acids. But if I remember right, you have also obtained glucoferrin. And glucoferrin is 708 amino acids that are sulfur bonded. They're not denatured like in creatine. They're not denatured like in whey protein powders or soy protein powders or a plant-based protein powders. They're not denatured. So these sulfur bonded amino acids are, I think 708 is better than just getting a few. So if I was going to spend my money, I'd probably buy glucoferrin versus taking creatine. Just my thoughts. Hope that helps. No one says, what do you think of red light therapy example, or especially in winter, or an example for winter? I think that there is a lot of, there's going to be a lot of research being done on red light therapy. At this stage in my life, you could call it hocus pocus. You could, but you would be calling the sun hocus pocus, and I don't. Now, are there better therapy lights than others? I think so. It's going to depend on the wavelength. Remember that red light therapy. Okay, how do I describe this? Okay, so in the spectrum of light, how I remember it is the mnemonic is Roy G. Biv. So red, orange, yellow, Roy, G, green, Biv. Mr. Roy G. Biv. Biv, blue, indigo, violet. That's how I remember the spectrum of light. And if you're in the red, orange, yellow spectrum, you're going to be somewhat healthier, okay? That is at a frequency that is not as disturbing to our body as the blue light. That's why you're hearing all the blue light controversy. You're around blue light. It's destroying your circadian rhythm. It's doing these things. It's activating your brain. You're getting flickers. You're getting all these things. So if you go to a red light or an amber light or yellow, you're getting more calming, more typical of what representation of the sun. So if we're in a winter climate, we can't get outside in the sunlight. Do I think red light might have a benefit for us? I do. I would just look into a good type of therapy. And if you can afford it, I mean, some people go to a spa every other day. Some people will buy a red light mask. Some people get a panel. But, I even read from Dr. Stephen Hussey. He says that because the sun is so healing, and you can hear this from many, many people, okay? The sun is healing. Whether you might not believe that, and that's fine. But let's just say the sun is healing. And that frequency, that wavelength is healing for us. It's going to be healing for our immune system, healing for our skin, healing for our eyeballs, healing for our mood, healing for all of these things, okay? that particular light wavelength can be reproduced into a panel or a mask, or just simply having amber colored lights in your house to simulate day. What they tried to do with blue light is by the Kelvin, by the brightness, whether it's kind of that amber yellowish blue light, or is it the completely white blue light, blue white light, okay? Which I think is the most damaging. But you have to decide for yourself. If you have the funds, people get in red light therapy booths all the time. Even if it was a placebo and you walked out of there and you felt better, then I guess it was worth it. Okay? It was worth it. But people like Stephen Hussey, I think it's Stephen Hussey, he has actually done studies on very, very, like we're looking at 830, the wavelength 830, okay? He's talking about over 1,000 and how it's healing for your heart. So we take medications after a heart attack that help to vasodilate our arteries. When we vasodilate, we're getting increased blood flow. Now, when you go out into the sun, you're vasodilating your arteries. Nitric oxide is being produced by the sunlight at high frequencies that Dr. Hussey is talking about. The wavelengths, the high wavelengths that Dr. Hussey is talking about, is assimilating heart health like a medicine would do without any other side effects. So simply putting yourself in this particular wavelength of red light, infrared, near infrared, we are healing our body, healing our heart, rather than taking medicines. Dr. Hussey survived a widowmaker. Less than 5% survived those. He is lucky. Yeah. Ruth says, at Dr. Stephen Hussey. Okay, yep. So you guys have obviously know who this man is. And it might be worth looking into, but I know that he has done research and he works with other people who have done research, and that was one of the things is red light therapy. I know that this might not completely answer your question because this is new. I don't know all the answers. Yes, red light therapy, it does help with our circadian rhythm. It does. You want to use red light mainly at night, actually. It's going to calm you. It simulates the circadian rhythm about getting ready for bed. So that's going to increase melatonin. It's the way opposite of blue light. And blue light is going to keep you awake. It is stimulating. So let's just say you go to amber, which is maybe orange yellow right in there. You're more, you're in that wavelength where you're kind of daytime. But when you get home at night and say you can't have red light at night because, your family can't see, it's not bright enough, you're not able, maybe just sitting under a red light. So one red light bulb might help you while everybody else is getting exposed to blue light. Or you could put amber in all of your bulbs. It has a little more, toward the red light spectrum and a little more brightness. So it's still hopefully avoiding all of the blue light. The blue light's where it's at. That's what's messing with us. The flicker rate that comes off of our phones and our computers and LED lights, that flicker light might be even worse than the actual blue the wavelengths, Dr. Jack Cruz is a huge proponent of sunlight. He said our government has actively been trying to create blue light environments that's destroying our brains and eyes over time. It's funny you mentioned that about our eyes. There has been some research that red light or even amber light therapy helps to improve your eyes. Now, with the vision. Now, with that being said, if you start out as a farsighted individual, so you are farsighted, the shape of your eyeball is going to change over time. It's going to get longer and longer and longer. Okay. And that amount of strain on those muscles is going to, over time, cause you to be where you can't see up close. You cannot see up close. The muscles cannot do it anymore. So your readers are going to be higher and higher and higher, because as you age, a farsighted person, the length of the eyeball is going to continue. I don't think that there is enough therapy with red light that can change the shape of your eyeball. Maybe right now. Again, maybe if the person started out nearsighted, that's a little different. Okay, the shape of their eyeball has not changed. And maybe red light therapy can help, or amber, or something other than blue light can help their eyes along with their brains over time. Would you agree? I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if that's correct. I'm just throwing it out there thinking, let's see. Good. Okay. Those are good questions. Good questions on the red light. Lara says retinal detachments is increasing. Sugar in the eyes is glaucoma. They say blue light emits. So I'm just going to pick this question apart, or this statement. The reason why we are getting eye problems, I think, like glaucoma or age-related macular degeneration, is the fact that, yes, we are consuming a ton of sugar, and sugar is causing glycation. Sugar glycates any protein. The proteins in our eyeballs, the proteins in our skin. Every cell, wherever there's protein, our hemoglobin. That's how we measure hemoglobin A1C for a diabetes marker. You're measuring glycated protein, glycated hemoglobin in this case. So sugar, yes, can glycate proteins in our eyes. They can increase our risk of getting glaucoma, increase our risk of getting age-related macular degeneration. But what they've told you, it is from the sun. And so they tell you to block the sunlight with sunglasses. And so now you're actually changing your circadian rhythm. You're changing how your brain functions and the hormones that your brain is releasing, or your skin, or any other endocrine organ that's releasing hormones. The sun plays a huge role in that. And so by telling us that age-related macular degeneration or glaucoma is caused by the sun, they've convinced you not to get in the sun. And then they tell you that you can get skin cancer. So again, they're telling you to stay out of the very thing that is healing. And so some of you will end up staying inside under blue light, get sick, have chronic diseases, and not know why. And you'll just think, oh, the doctor told me this is normal. I'm just going to get older and I'm going to age. Not true. If you go outside, you'll find that you feel better. Have you ever gone to the lake, gone to a pool, you're out with people, your legs are dangling, your feet are dangling in the pool, you're getting sun, and you feel rejuvenated. You actually feel so tired that you want to go to sleep after you've been rejuvenated. And you sleep like a baby after sun exposure on a Saturday or Sunday at the lake. Because the sun is healing. It's helping you. But we've been told that the sun is poisonous. We've been told the sun needs to be blocked on our eyeglasses and wear sunscreen, which is more chemicals we're putting on our body. These are decisions you have to make. You have to get on board with all this. If think about it, if you are inside, they tell you, we're not going to do any more breaks. They're doing this to our kids too. They're not doing recess. Everybody's staying inside. You're under fluorescent blue LED lights. I mean, it's really kind of crazy how you could think, well, this is a conspiracy, and what Lara's saying is, they're just trying to kill us. Well, I mean, are they? But it would have to be what you actually believe, you guys. If you don't believe that blue light is a problem, then blue light's not a problem. If you want to be under blue light, then be under blue light. If you think it's harmful for you, get under red light or amber light. Get out in the sun. Good. Okay. Yeah, this is a good point. SH says, I've spent 25 years studying medicine and I've realized we, all capitals, we don't know anything. It's all hit and try. Something works, something doesn't. I agree. But it is fascinating to understand or find out that if, let's just say that you think something's true and you find through experience that that might not be true. And I always, so what SH is saying is, here I'm going to give you a very like way out there analogy, is I think the sky is green and you think the sky is blue. And I tell you that it's really not. That's because that's my belief. I believe that the sky is not blue. You say it's blue, I say it's green. It really doesn't matter what I think. That does not change whether it's true. You're obviously correct in saying the sky is blue. And I'm obviously wrong saying the sky is green. Now, I know that it gets green during certain times of storms and all that. I'm just making a point here. What we believe does not always equal truth. And so we can bounce these ideas off of each other all the time. And there is only one truth. It will always be true. It's either true or it's not true. And I believe that some things that we have been taught are not true. And it takes a lot of undoing to get rid of those experiences and fill them with new experiences. You might spend the next 25 years going over the exact same experiences you tried to dump out and accumulate different experiences. So I'm giving you new experiences right now, a new thought. And you need to, your cup might be full of experiences that you've already obtained in 25 years of learning something. So unless you dump out some of your experiences, you're never going to be able to accept any of my experiences. And I've had to do this. I believe my past experiences have led me to having to dump out some of what I have been taught and relearn from maybe like Dr. Hussey, maybe like Dr. Cohen, maybe like Dr. Berry, maybe like Dr. Obadi or Dr. whoever it is, Saladino, whoever your person is that you think. If you're not ready to dump out some experience to try to relearn others, then you're going to be stuck in status quo. And you could be wrong. It might not be truth. So you're never going to find truth. Ruth says, can you exercise your eyes to strengthen them? Yes, there are eyeball exercises. And a lot of them deal with increasing parasympathetic tone. So look at, Ruth, look at parasympathetic exercises or parasympathetic eye exercises. Yes, when you're reading on your phones, do try to, or the computer, try to pause and look at something in a distance far away. So that is one exercise you can do, is to take a break, then focus on something at a distance. And I can't remember exactly how that exercise goes, but those are good ones. Good morning, Lucy. Getting ready for church. We'll take Dr. J and my thoughts and heart. Thank you, Lucy. And we will pray for you to get over your thing. And I'm glad you're going to church. Eve says, my favorite professor once told me, if you remember nothing else, remember this. We don't know what we don't know. I mean, that is true. Unfortunately, we get locked in with the things that we think we do know. And that can be a problem because then we'll never really experience anything new. And I know it just sounds like circular logic, but not Dr. Saladino. He's still preaching fruits, which turns directly into glucose by the liver. Only eat fruits in season in your location, a few berries maybe. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, we talked about mTOR. We talked about, as a review, I'm just trying to review. We talked about mTOR. We talked about stress. We talked about how our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis works. We talked about overeating. We talked about endorphins. Endorphins, stress will lower endorphins. It lowers neurotransmitters. So having stress is good, but it's got to have a reprieve. What can we do to lower stress? There's all the things. We kind of got into the sun. We got into exercise, sleep, our diet. One of the things where people say, but I think I need my selective serotonin. This is reminding me of things. That's why I'm saying. So I like my selective serotonin reuptake. I like my Zoloft. I like my Paxil. I like my Prozac. How am I going to get my own serotonin if I don't take those things? Good question. I think one, it goes back to diet. Okay? If you eat foods that naturally increase serotonin, like you eat foods that are rich in tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin. I think it's in the Creatine pathway but one of the breakoff points from tryptophan, because tryptophan can go to GABA or glutamate. I'm just walking through this in my head. But tryptophan can also go to serotonin. And so if we eat foods that are high in tryptophan, like turkey or eggs are high in tryptophan, then we're going to get more serotonin production. If we eat foods that are rich in, I believe it's tyrosine, which obviously is in meats, then we're going to get dopamine. Also, sleep will increase both dopamine and serotonin. So people who don't sleep are at risk of having increased or decreased neurotransmitters as well. But no sleep equals stress, and stress, you already know, decreases endorphins and decrease. So it's like connecting all the dots, you guys. All of this is connecting the dots. And we're all just learning. This is all just one big giant learning scenario. I saw a question come through here and I totally can't find it. That's fine. If you guys have a question that I didn't answer, go ahead and redo it. Put a Q in front of it so I know. Sometimes those that go against the grain and speak against big medicine are silenced. One has to question why that is, especially when they're in the right. You mean the person who goes against the grain is in the right? In all reality, you have to question why somebody would be silencing you in the first place. Is it because you're saying something that is true? That's possible. There are people that want to you, and they want to believe themselves that what they say is correct and it is the truth when it may not be the truth, and they're going to silence anybody who goes against the truth. I mean, you might even just totally believe that you know the truth and you're still wrong. And it was innocent. It was innocent, you knowing the truth. I'm not sure anyone can convince me to stop eating tomatoes. Always order cheeseburgers with extra tomato and pickles. No bread, of course. Like you said, sometimes it takes new info to change my mind. Well, you know what? I think if I were you, I probably would maybe look into nightshades and lectins. And I would say, hey, do I have a problem with my depression? Do I have a problem with my looking for exogenous endorphins? And then you might think, yeah, maybe I should get rid of those nightshade plants because they could be adding to my problem that I already have. And so just because you love the taste of something and then you put on the back burner the actual negative side effects, until you really release those and say, yeah, I don't know if I want to have those side effects, even though I lust after the taste. It's up to you. Again, Lara, you have to make your own decisions, okay? What's this? Oh, no one asks, what do you think about nicotinamide mononucleotide supplements for older people? That is a question that I do not know enough about that would answer your question. So, yeah, I don't know if I can actually even go there. I'm not gonna go there, because I'm going to just tell you what I think, and I don't have any basis to that. So just simply giving you my opinion, no, isn't going to help you, because I need to be able to give you enough information that you can make good decisions. And so on this particular one, what do I think? Because I don't know about it, I can't give you any information to allow you to make a good decision. And so I'd rather just keep quiet than to try to fake it and pretend like I know the answer when I actually don't. And hopefully that you will find respectable. Okay? This is another thing that came up that I want to just run it by you guys, because I hear this commonly. We are what we eat. Have you guys heard that? Have you used it? Because I want you to maybe think about something. We are maybe not what we eat, but what our microbiome eats. So we have a microbiome. So it's not us breaking down foods. It's our microbiome. It's our gut bacteria. Can you guys get on board with that? Or not? Maybe you don't. But what if it is what our microbiome eat? And let's say that we change our diet. Say we go from a standard American diet and we go to a carnivore diet. Over time, we don't have to go cold turkey, but we go over time. The microbiome that you will build up eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That microbiome has changed. It'll change within 2 weeks. And let's just say you eat, let's say you're a carnivore. Let me just say you're a carnivore, because and your biome only eats carnivore products. And then all of a sudden you throw in vegetables. And vegetables, which some of you know are high in oxalates and phytates and lectins and tannins. These plants are full of these anti-nutrients. And let's say they block absorption of B vitamins. And you know that. And so you decide you're just going to take a B vitamin, continue your, what I would say is a keto carnivore diet. So you're more keto. You're going to keep these plants in there. No matter how much B vitamin you take. So say you take B1 because you know you're low. Let's say you have Parkinson's, because that's kind of a hot topic right now, especially since I talked about it yesterday. If you eat the foods that block the absorption, say the vegetable, the plant, no matter if you take B1, you're never going to get rid of your Parkinson's or MS, the demyelination. You need thiamine. By consuming these plants, all plants, even nightshades, we are decreasing the absorption of things we may need. So if you're an alcohol drinker and you're going to be low in B1, no matter how much B1 you take, you're still going to have the outcome of the lack of that B1, which is a cofactor, which is needed for other pathways. Simply taking it, you're not going to be able to absorb it. One, you don't have the microbiome for it. Your microbiome needs certain microbiome that will take care of B1. I'm hoping I'm making sense here. So you need the microbiome that eats and takes care of the B1. If you don't have that microbiome, no matter how much you put in, that's why I'm not a big believer right now of taking all of these supplements. Changing your diet and getting rid of the toxins is what we need to do. Let's see. Is there a reason to see an eye doctor when nearsightedness gets bad in our 40s? Should we just get readers? So what you're saying, what I'm guessing you're saying is that you are actually farsighted all of your life. And then once you kind of reached your 40s or 50s, you began having trouble seeing up close. That doesn't mean that you're nearsighted. You're actually farsighted, cannot see up close, and now you need help. You need a glasses prescription that helps bring back the focus to something up close, because your eyeballs have lengthened to the point where now the muscles can't contract. So you can see really, really good far away, okay? All of your life. And you never really had a problem seeing up close because the muscles would squeeze down, contract, shorten, and you could see up close. Until the use of those muscles up to 40 or 50, they got so tired, so stretched out, so glycated, so whatever, and now you can't bring back the focus to something up close. So you're going to need stronger and stronger glasses in order to see the writing up close. And you're going to need more light. Is going to the eye doctor going to change? He or she could say, hey, I'll give you some bifocals. So you can still see far away, and then you'll look down at the bifocal and be able to read something. Or you're doing this. So you're looking far away and then you're looking down. So you're basically creating your own bifocals. So I'm looking far away above the glasses, and then you get up close and so they're going to give you maybe a prescription, or you carry around readers, which are whatever the bottom of the bifocal is. You're just using that. So do you like to do this? Or I see this. I mean, I see it all where people are, so it's up to you. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. B12 is already tanked, but I believe we already know why. B12 and B1, Lara, aside from plants. B12 is essential in executive decision making, among other things. You're exactly right. It's how we actually absorb iron. When doing strict meat and fats, getting morning and evening sunlight, vision improves, especially after 7-day fast. But when I had sugar again, impaired vision return. Everybody's going to be different. The experiences you have, you're giving exact specifics. 7-day fast, you're giving when I had sugars again. Well, what sugars were they? Were they fructose? Was it glucose? Was it a combination? Was it, highly processed foods? There's so many variables in here, but that's a great story. And you're starting to find out how your body adapts. Right, Ruth. N equals 1, exactly. 9 says, I appreciate your wisdom and understanding the human body. Well, I appreciate that. And I'm learning. You guys, for most of you who know me, I am still in a learning curve. I want to continue to learn until the day that Jesus takes me away. And I wasn't so much taking the time to continue learning. I learned only what I was taught to learn, which is through medical school, through residency, through my practice. And how do you continue to learn that way, a certain way? It's through CME. All doctors have to attain a certain amount of CME, continuing medical education, in order to maintain their board certification. Now, all of that CME is written in one direction, the exact same direction that medical school taught you, that residency taught you, and that your practice continues to teach you through the dietary guidelines, through the FDA, through the NIH, through all the three-letter agencies. If you continue on that path, you're not going to be able to see anything else. You're going to have blinders on. And unless someone helps you jump out of that narrow, blind spot, you're never going to see anything else out there. Like Eve says, what you don't know, you don't know. And that's where I felt, I always questioned things, and I questioned things a lot. And sometimes all I ended up getting for an answer was, well, that's just the way it is. And I said, but maybe that's not the way it is. Like, I always had doubt, but then some people started feeding me their experiences. And I started to assimilate their experiences into my experiences. And now my outlook on the way I view medicine has changed dramatically. Now, do I still have to do CME? Yes. Do I look at it in a whole different way? Yes. It's almost like just read it, get through it, get the CME, but it might not be the truth. And so you find yourself basically trying to filter out all of the things, but you need the CME. There's not very much CME out there for people who think that plants are trying to kill you and that we should eat animal-based diets. You're not going to find a lot of CME. And if you do, they're going to capitalize on that. They are going to capitalize on your need to get CME, and they're going to charge you an arm and a leg or a nose and a tail. I mean, we're human, right? We lust after the flesh and the eyes. We lust after the eyes, and we have pride of life. And so your CME must be so brilliantly put together that they can charge you $3,000 for it. Whereas you could do a CME on maybe not truth for free. So I think I will spend my money wisely. And yeah, great information, says Sheila. You're very welcome. Please allow Dr. Jensen to teach you how to ask your doctors for additional labs. So Lara's been in this position. That's why she's saying this. There are many of you who are getting more educated and you want to get certain labs to see how healthy you are. I think getting baseline labs are important. I really do. A lot of people need to see numbers in order to make changes. They can't just say, you know what, Dr. Jensen, I get it. You want us to eat animal-based, but in all reality, I feel great. Well, if we look at the labs, we might be able to predict or see changes that you're going down that could lead right into diabetes. And we could see things like, hey, maybe you got a problem with iron overload. Maybe you got insulin resistance. Maybe you're whatever the thing might be. And we can tell that from labs. A person who's good at reading labs will be able to shed some light and help you make better decisions moving forward. Or just decisions that are best for you. And so that is what I do. But sometimes doctors don't like to hear from you in what things you want ordered. But you have to remember, your doctor, like me, I work for you. You do not work for me. So if you go to the office, you're hiring that doctor to take care of your health. And part of that is a relationship that says, hey, doctor, could you check my insulin level? No, you don't need it. I'm not going to do that. That is not the doctor that you want to work with. I mean, I don't think that would be the doctor that I would want to, work with. If you cannot get labs ordered from your doctor and you're in the United States, I can order them for you. However, they are not covered under insurance. So you have to be willing and say, hey, I want these labs. I want to know what's going on, and I'm willing to spend $350 for them. I mean, it's just a choice you have to make. You can beg your doctor. You could stay sitting in their office until the lights go out and, play hold up. I don't know what it's going to take, but it's really unfortunate that we live in a society where the doctor thinks that they can control every aspect of you and will withheld, labs that you want to have done. I just think but see, part of it goes back to not only their power and their ego, but it's a loss of money. See, they're trying not to spend money. And if you order a bunch of lab tests, that actually comes out of their reimbursements, because their reimbursement is determined by the insurance companies or their corporation, which is managed by the insurance company. So if your insurance companies try to cut costs and you go and order a panel of labs that's going to cost them, they don't like that. And then you, my friend doctor, are going to get reprimanded and you're going to lose pay, or you're going to have to pay back for the labs that you ordered on the person who we didn't want you to order them for because it costs us money. Yeah, but they wanted to know and it helped them with their health. Doesn't matter. It costs us money. They'll be fine. Don't worry about it. If they get something, you treat it. That's the way the doctors are today. And those are the new ones coming up, okay? They're going to be coming up in the workforce, and these are going to be the doctors that are even more super trained than I was. Because back 20 years ago, I wasn't really paid like that. I was paid by the number of patients I saw, but we weren't deducted. I didn't have deductions if I didn't do a certain thing. Like if I didn't put a cholesterol of 230 on a statin, I didn't get a deduction. They do now. So times are changing, and you guys should know that this is what's going on. Your doctor does not have your best interest at heart any longer. They have their best interest at heart. Again, this is unfortunate, and I'm painting with a big broad brush stroke, but you guys tell me. I've had more people comment that they can't get their doctors, and when it's odd, they'll say, gosh, you won't believe this, but my doctor actually ordered them for me. Denver says, I'm thinking about studying medicine in Canada. Let us know how that goes. Yeah, the insurance business, it's a racket, and they're going to charge you for it. And the minute you get a diagnosis, Lara and the people who brought this concept up, you know what? I don't know. I hate speaking badly about the profession, but I think you guys are already seeing it. I'm just like bringing it like out in the open, and he's saying, Dr. Jensen, I really can't believe you're talking about this. It's the reason why I don't work in the corporate business anymore. It's the reason why after 15 years, I opened my own practice. But see, you can never get away from the insurance companies unless you go cash pay, which I'm doing now. Because you're always under theirs. You're never going to get paid enough. They can tell you what they're going to pay you. Even if they pay the corporate doctor, they pay him or her $200. You do the exact same service, the exact same documentation, and you'll get $90. That's how they can control you. So that's how they manipulate you into not being able to make it and then going to work for the corporate and end up doing what they tell you, because if you don't, you're going to get fired. You're going to be let go. They don't even fire you. They don't let go. They accept your resignation. That's how corporations get rid of doctors. They accept their resignation. You cannot fight it. The attorneys for corporate entities, hospital systems, you wouldn't have enough money to fight it. Never, ever, ever. And so the best thing, maybe for your own longevity is to, settle, and you say, I'm just going to go on my own. I'm going to speak truth, and people will support me. If they believe in me, they will support me. And it's happening. This is what I'm doing. And people are going to help me. I know that. I believe in that. Is this the same with the VA hospital? It is. It's no different. The VA is a government entity, and the government, which is CMS, tells the insurance companies what to do. It's all one big giant ball of cotton candy. It's not good. I will tell you, I do take my mom to the VA hospital, and they do seem a little more friendly and workable with patients. And that's a good thing. But I truly believe that these government hospitals aren't going to get rid of their doctors. They can't, because there's not enough doctors. See, what happens is they will they will hire up ancillary personnel like nurse practitioners or PAs, because they can pay them a lot less than they can pay a doctor. So the doctor says, yep, I accept your resignation. You're gone. And they fill your spot with an NP or a PA. And in my state, you don't have to have an overlooking physician. You don't need a DO or an MD overlooking the PA here anymore, not in Iowa. In the past, you did. So a PA really couldn't go out and work on their own, open their own place. They had to have a doctor, an MD or a DO in charge of them, overlooking them, signing off on their stuff, so to speak. NPs, nurse practitioners, did not have that requirement in Iowa, but it's all changed. I don't know what other states do, but yeah, that's the fact on how doctors are paid. They're paid by doing what the insurance companies or the government requires them to do. It used to be that you see a patient, you get paid, and all was good. You know, it was just basically a fee for service. Then it turned into an RVUs, revenue value units. Do they still do revenue value units? Yes. But it's turning more into, if you do this certain work, you keep this blood pressure down, you use an ACE inhibitor, you got diabetes, here's the medicines. If you're a diabetic, you go on an ACE inhibitor. If you're a diabetic, you go on a statin. If you do all those things, you get a bonus. And you don't lose money. So they've incentivized a doctor or a nurse practitioner or a PA in such a way that now the doctor or the provider only thinks about themselves and not about you. I think some of you are finding this out, but yeah, Sheila says all about the money, especially insurance. Let me see here. Yes, that is the point. I tell people to stop going to their doctors. Isn't that awful? Kinda. I think you need a doctor for any acute injuries, if you need your hip replaced or your finger sewed back on. But if you need them to help you with your mental health and all that, they're going to put you on a medication, and that medication could be doing you more harm than good. How about that? Took mom to 3 appointments last week. They just keep elderly in the system and constant appointments and testing. We must stand up for them and be cognizant. Well, not everybody, not all of our seniors actually have, an advocate. And so your mom is lucky, and that's, wow. I mean, my mom is fortunate that she has me. And it's fortunate, even more fortunate, that I'm a physician and I can talk to them on their level, and I can call BS. And it usually works. I hate to have to do that, but they're withholding certain testing, certain things because of money. And I don't like that. Jerry says, I don't go to my doctor. My heart doctor quit me because I don't take their medications. Carnivore for 2 years. That's awesome, Jerry. Who do you recommend for a complex case review? Functional doctors. Well, a complex case review. You could give me a try. I don't know any other functional doctors that do. I don't keep track of what other doctors do. I really don't. Like, I follow Dr. Barry, but I have no idea what he does for patients inside his membership. Judy Cho, she's got the same thing. She's got people hired underneath her that go over people's stuff. I'm guessing, but I don't know who does complex case reviews, extensive stuff like that. The Primal Bod does extensive case reviews and helps people with their health. They all have it. I just don't know enough that I could recommend. I mean, maybe it's Dr. Sean Baker and Rivero. I don't know. Okay. But all of them at least might be seeing things a little more eye to eye than your typical primary care physician or internal medicine doctor. Okay. Lori says, with the truth Dr. J is speaking, we must pray for her, for protection, perseverance, and support, provision from the Lord. You know what, Lori, that's the best thing that you can pay me with, to be honest, is praying for me and praying for my strength and my peace. The bombardment by Satan and all of his minions, it's real. It's going to be like that because the closer our relationship is with Jesus, the more and more Satan is going to attack us. The devil, the evilness will attack us. The minions will come out of the woodwork to try to attack us, and we need to be strong. And I'm human. I can get down. I can feel discouraged, but you guys pump me up. You keep me going. I feel your prayers because I'm hearing God, and he's saying, you got this, keep going. And if something doesn't feel right, if I'm telling you something and a week from now, I said, oof, I think that was wrong. I'm going to tell you, I think I was wrong. I think I was wrong. But see, you're not going to find that a lot. Not a lot of doctors are going to admit when they're wrong. And that's a shame. But where is their heart? If they can't admit when they're wrong, or anybody for that matter, is their heart like that of Jesus? Where is their heart? And I'll tell you, my heart's not been very clean. I mean, there are times when people would say, man, I think she needs a little Roundup for her heart. Kill those weeds, kill those minions, the evil minions. And yeah, there's been times, but we're human and we're not perfect, and not until the day we get raptured. I'm good with that. I'm a work in progress. I'm not going to just sit idle here. I'm going to do God's work. I'm going to share the gospel. I'm going to tell you that he loves you no matter what you've done, no matter what you think. He's going to love you anyway. If you knock, the door will be opened. He will accept you. All you have to do is ask for forgiveness, and then you repent, and then you believe that there is the Savior who can save you. And it's not me, not the doctor, not your neighbor, not your mom or your dad, not your wife or your husband or your brother or your sister. They can't save you. There's only one Savior. And we will all die. And we only have two choices of where we're going. I hope you choose up. I want you to choose up. And I'm going to help you do that. But you have to take care of your body in order to get there. It is the perfect temple. It was given to you as a free gift. You were asked to use it for his glory, not yours. Unfortunately, we disrespect it. We think it's ours, that we can do with it whatever we want. And we don't take care of our free gift. We don't appreciate gifts at all. No, we don't. We don't accept blessings either. Eve says, God tells me when I feel like that, his grace is sufficient. So I know he's saying the same for you. He is, Eve. And no one, God bless your wisdom. And, Eve's going to be praying for me. I appreciate that. I really do. It's, we're here to be, we have one assignment, and that's to be a servant of the Lord. And I take that responsibility, that job responsibility, I take it very seriously. All right. Sheila says, my brother takes 20 pills a day. He has heart problems, kidney problems. He goes to the doctor 4 times a week. Sheila, we will all pray for your brother. He's in a trap. And, this 20 pills, honestly, you guys saw my video or my reel from yesterday about polypharmacy. Your brother's got polypharmacy. And there's so many things that are going wrong. And the medicines are a problem, but undoing 20 pills is going to take a long time, and it's going to be hard work. Lara is talking to Jerry. Okay, that's awesome. Okay. If you guys got questions, put a Q in front of them. Lori says, keep going. We got you, and God's got you most. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, Lori, and I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, doctors are very good about that. They get you obsessed about your cholesterol. They'll get you obsessed about your blood pressure. Those are symptoms. Those are not diseases. They're symptoms of something deeper. You know, your blood pressure is a symptom of something else. It is not a disease. Although, as doctors, we give it a diagnosis code. ICD-10. We give it a code, so that means it's a disease. No, it's not. It's a symptom of something underlying. You know, people who have blood pressure problems likely have hyperinsulinemia. They're likely a diabetic, underlying diabetic or a full-blown diabetic. Their insulin level is high. They're getting salt and water retention. Their pressure is going up. Now, if we have pressure over time, our arteries are going to get harder. They're not going to be nice little muscular tubes. So, you know, I don't know how old your mom is, but she's likely had pressure, been insulin resistant for years and years and years. And you know what? We're going to obsess our parents over their blood pressure now. They'll know what is good and what is bad, right? Okay, make sure there's no other questions over here. Sheila says, thank you, doctor. That is so true. I try to explain to him about all the meds, the side effects, and he refuses to listen. I just pray for him to open his eyes. Yeah, it's harder, Sheila, especially with family members. It is harder to tell them. I mean, I have trouble talking to my family. In fact, I have trouble talking to my patients. You know, after a while, you develop a relationship with them, and it could look like a friendship. It could look like, you know, that's why I try to keep boundaries with everybody. A boundary allows you to, you know, not get influenced by, you know, their emotions. You have to stand your ground. That's why I don't bend a lot. If you guys want to eat plants, eat the plants. I'll tell you everything about a plant, how it could possibly be wrecking your health. And you have to decide. I'll give you all the reasons, and then you can go look them up. But you ultimately make a decision. But you have to have information in order to make a decision. You cannot just, you could willy-nilly just go and make a decision. But it wouldn't be thoughtful. It wouldn't be thought-provoking. You didn't even look into it. In fact, most people say, you know what, whatever you think, I'll just go with it. Because you don't even want to use your brain. We've gotten people in our society not even using their brain. They don't want to look stuff up. Whatever's good with you, doctor, I'll just go with it. Whatever your financial advisor says, oh, I just want to get into an annuity where I make about a 10% free upfront load. Yeah, one of those. Well, if it's good for me in the long run, well, yeah, sure, of course. We have to look into things. You need information to make good decisions. I hope I'm like a broken record when I talk about this, but I think it's important. Anna says, I have an herb garden and I use them every day in my food, such as parsley, basil, sage. Do you think it's healthy? Anna, I think that's a question that you have to ask yourself. You know, is your garden, is it in the ground? Is it in the soil in the ground? Or did you make a box for it? You put your own soil in it, which is organic, and you are watering it with reverse osmosis water, so it's not outside. It's not outside. So it's not getting any heavy metals from the air. It's not getting any microplastics from the air. It's not even getting rainwater. You put an umbrella over it. So it's not going to get that water. And then it's not going to get any pollution or any sediments from the air, even though you grew it in your own soil. Do you see where I'm going with this? How could you protect your plant from environmental exposures? You see, that is why I don't eat plants. Well, I actually do, as long as they're filtered through a cow or any other ruminary animal. because they're going to process it. And then I'm getting the ketones, the essential fatty acids, and the proteins. But I personally will not eat them. I am sure that there is a time when an herbal medicine is healing. You might use it 1 or 2 or 3 times. But if you are using it every day on your food, so you're putting, plants grow in the ground, their leaves soak up heavy metals and heavy pollution, heavy toxins, and then you consume them. And you are a monogastric animal. So you can't break this stuff down. So you're accepting all of these things. One other, all plants have non-heme iron. And non-heme iron is getting stuck in your tissues. We don't absorb it. You can't use it. We can use heme iron. We cannot use non-heme iron. 3%. I take it back. You can use 3%. So you're getting a buildup of non-heme iron, which oxidizes very easily. It's inside your cells. When you put iron in the rain and oxygen outside, what happens to it? Exactly. It rusts. So your cells inside your body are rusting. That is why I don't eat plants. One of the reasons I don't eat plants. I don't want iron overload. I'm trying to get rid of my iron overload. I'm trying not to consume non-heme iron. I'm trying not to get cadmium and arsenic and mercury in my soil. I'm going to let the cow do it. I have to eat something. I'm going to let the cow do all that for me. I'm hoping that his 4-chambered stomach will do the job. It's up to you, Anna. What works for me may not work for you. Okay? But, is it healthy? It's not healthy for me. How about that? Let's see. I think that is looks like that's all of the questions, you guys. So we will call it quits, and hopefully you guys learned a lot today. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, click the share button, send it to somebody like, your brother. Send it to your brother and say, hey, you know what? You're not listening to me, but maybe you'll listen to her. And, I was reading this, or just nonchalantly. If you need your labs checked and your doctor won't order them, contact me, IronLadyDoc at AOL.com, IronLadyDoc at AOL. Email me, I can order your labs for you if you're in the United States. And if you're wanting to do a consult, like go over your medical history, go over your medications, go over your recent labs, I can do that too. You can email me for consultations. You can join our medical private membership, I would say. It's $100 for the whole year. You get access to asking me questions as long as they are relevant and they don't exceed what I would consider a consultation. So if you're going to give me $100 for the whole year and you bombard me with questions, then I would say, why don't you schedule the consultation? Let's go over these things. The texting me questions throughout the day 10 times, 14 times, 15 times, that is not appropriate for a $100 membership. Okay? It's for you to have a doc in your back pocket and say, hey, my doctor just told me that I don't need an insulin. What could I quickly say to say that I will or do need it? Okay, that's legit. I'm at the grocery store and I have a choice between 80% lean hamburger and 85. They're both the same price. What should I do? Okay, those are the kind of questions I'm suggesting. Okay, so with that being said, we'll call this day we'll wrap it up, and you can contact me if you would like and subscribe and click the share and do all those clickety-clack things that I love you guys to do. Until then, we will be back, Lord willing, next Saturday, 9 a.m. Central. See ya.